Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for tonight's Local Love Letters info session. My name is Hansel Porras Garcia, and I am ULAID Cinematic Arts Manager. Tonight, I am going to be going over some information for the Local Love Letters application process. And at the end of the session, I'll be chatting with one of last year's winners, filmmaker Juan Barquin. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for me, a lot of questions for Juan. So I just wanted to remind you to please drop all of those questions in our Q&A feature. So let's start. What is Local Love Letters and why are we offering it? Well, last year we collaborated with the city of Miami Beach to found 9 films that use Miami Beach as a backdrop. This year we're offering the same open call short film contest, but this time in Little Haiti. We want you to send us a brief pitch of your best short film ideas with only a couple of stipulations. Your film must be within 3 to 5 minutes long, and you have to use your favorite location in Little Haiti as one of your locations. We have received a generous funding from the Lynn and Louis Wolfson II Family Foundation. We'll award 10 filmmakers $5,000 each to create their 3 to 5 minute short film. The question, are you eligible to apply? Well, it's pretty simple. This contest is open to filmmakers in Miami-Dade only. You must be over the age of 18, and you have to use your favorite Little Haiti spot as one of the locations in your film. If you have a great story and the ability to get it made in a cinematic form, we would love to see your pitch. And by cinematic form, I mean it must be a film. It can be animated, claymation, documentary, narrative, hybrid, experimental, whatever works for you. And for your short film and the story you're pitching. So you have a little under 2 months to complete the film once awarded the funds. So you want to keep that in mind too. Okay, let's continue then. So the application process. If you're wondering about the application process, it is very easy and simple. You have to answer a few questions, submit your CV and an optional work sample. I'll take you through the process right now. As you're reading, you will have to give us a logline of your short film in 50 words. Also, a brief summary of your short film that will be in 100 words. A short description of the look and the film of your film that will be in 150 words. With 100 words, you will have to tell us who is the ideal audience for your film. And you will also give us your CV and prior work sample, and that's optional again. And also very important, you will also want to list your Little Haiti locations in your applications. We would like to see what location are you planning to shoot your film in. So just those questions, your CV and an optional work sample, and you have officially submitted. So I have some tips on applying now. What are the users looking for? And I know I have a question about that in the Q&A feature already, so I'm going to answer. We're asking you to pitch whatever story you would like, as long as you're using your favorite spot or spots. It might be more than one in Little Haiti as a location in your film. We want your unique perspective as an artist, so pitch a story that only you could pitch. A story that only you could make. Users aren't looking for any specific genre or format. As I mentioned before, it can be a documentary, a narrative, experimental film, a hybrid, whatever works for you, whatever you feel good doing in a cinematic form. If you don't have access to fancy equipment, it's totally fine. This is open to filmmakers with a great idea and the ability to make it a reality. So you'll have between 3 to 5 minutes to make this story come to life. So pitch something that is realistic and that you can make in 3 to 5 minutes. As I mentioned before, we want you to pick your favorite spot in Little Haiti and use it as one of the locations in your film. So let us know where that spot is. Is it a specific park? Is it your favorite restaurant? Is it a house? What is that place? So timeline and jury process. I have a great news to share with you on this one. We have decided to extend our open call until next Monday, March 20th by 6 p.m. So now you have the weekend to work on your project and send it our way. Remember, the deadline now is Monday, March 20th by 6 p.m. We'll send every single eligible application we receive to an independent jury of filmmakers and film professionals for their review. Jurors will review the application in March, will deliberate in April, and they will announce the winner in mid-April. If you're one of those winners, you have 2 months to shoot your film. Later this year, we will screen those 10 films in person, and you can get more information in our FAQ. I think I've said quite a bit so far, so now I'm gonna stop here and see if anyone has any questions. You can drop it, remember, in the Q&A. So I have one question, actually, where the jurors looking for. I already explained that. We're not looking for anything specific, as long as you can make a film. It could be narrative, it could be documentary, it could be a hybrid film. In the past, we have had a lot of great projects that are hybrid or documentary or even fiction. So whatever works for you, whatever you feel more comfortable doing, please submit your idea, submit your short film, and pitch the idea in our in the application process. I don't have more questions so far, but I have someone waiting to enter this this info session, and this is Juan Barquin, last year's winners. Juan, are you around?
Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
Hi.
welcome. How are you?
Good. How about you? Hi, everybody.
I'm good. I'm great. I'm great to share this moment with you and to talk to our filmmaking community about local love letters and what was the process for you, and what was it like, and congratulations on being a big winner for last year, and also congratulations on Miami Film Festival.
Thank you.
This year.
Congrats to you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, Juan, I just want to remind people that the Q&A feature is available. Please drop all your questions in our Q&A so they can be answered while we talk a little bit about your own process. Like, I would like to start by telling people, what is your background in filmmaking? Who is Juan Barquin, filmmaker?
Oh God. I actually didn't start filmmaking until a couple of years ago, and when I actually first applied, I thought I had no chance whatsoever, because I didn't have that much of a sample. Like, I had just made like one little like miniature short, and I was like, okay, well, hopefully, like, going in, it's like, this will explain what I want to do, how I want to tell the story, and like, if it sounds good enough, it sounds good enough. And like, miraculously, I ended up getting it, which was really great, honestly. Like, I mean, I don't know if you want me to sort of jump into like what our project was before.
I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I know about it, but people don't. So if you want to share that experience with them, that would be amazing. Yeah.
So me and my regular collaborator, his name is Trey DeLellis, we both come from like a sort of like more of an academic background than a filmmaking background, and like writing criticism and stuff. So then we jumped into making like a little short for our film series, Flaming Classics, that we programmed. And so we've always been fascinated in all these like weird little stories that we've heard from like friends or other people who we've like bumped into who have like just interesting queer stories. And so Trey had this one tale that his friends had told him about like the night they met in Miami Beach. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds fascinating. What if we like write a script around that? And so we started playing with it a little bit. And then when we saw the call for local love letters, immediately we're like, oh, this is great. Like, it's like a love story in South Beach. Why not just like finish writing it and then send in our thing? So I think our log line ended up just being like really simple. and it was a couple about to celebrate a milestone anniversary are compelled to return to the Miami bar where they first met, but discover that the city and their relationship is always changing. And so it was like, we wanted to do something that wasn't just one place in South Beach. Because, like, I don't know, I feel like for all of us of a certain age, it was like, you just kind of went there and like you explored all sorts of different places. And it's like,
Mhm.
I still go to all sorts of different places, even though I don't go to the road all that much anymore. But that was like where, like back in the day, things just had, there was so much more than just like bad stores. And so like, yeah, and I don't know, we just kind of sort of decided like, let's dive in and give it a shot. And that was our first, I guess, official short film that wasn't like just us self-funding.
I gotta say, I love that short film. I love the story. I love the visuals. Uh, yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I will say this about like Light overall, and I'm sure like people are wondering like, oh, if I submit like a thing, am I like stuck to that? And it's like, no, because we were able to play around a lot with the way that we actually presented ours.
Mhm.
Like I know at some point you wanted to talk about the application process itself, and like we had originally had one form of storytelling that we were thinking of,
Mhm.
which was actually going to be a little more traditional narrative. And so when we submit our short, we had um, there was a section in our thing that was like, what will your short film look and feel like? And we sort of started like citing different filmmakers that we are inspired by. But then weirdly enough, we ended up kind of like taking it to completely different areas. And like everyone was really great about it. It's like
That's
we
amazing. Yeah.
never had any issues. Like everyone at Ulite, you and Danielle especially, were both like, here, like do like, it did not feel like I was being just like handed money and thrown into something like, do whatever you want. It's like, oh no, like you actually have resources and guidance. So like we were able to like rent a digital camera from you guys for free, which was phenomenal. Especially even though we didn't end up using the digital footage, it was like I had the perfect almost blueprint. And then you guys helped us get the rights to shoot on the beach, and you know, all sorts of different little insurance. Like it is, I feel like a lot of people are always worried about like applying to grants just because you don't necessarily know if you have like the experience that people need.
Mhm. Mhm.
But like, just give it a shot. I don't know, like as long
Yes.
as you have like a good story to tell, like just jump in.
Well, actually, yes, you just need a good story to start with because we are
Yeah,
not asking like filmmakers or with a career already
yeah,
started to apply. You can apply, everyone can apply to this open call. So if you have a good story that you can shoot in Little Haiti or use at least one location in Little Haiti as a backdrop, please apply, apply. And now you have until Monday, the 20th to apply.
yeah.
Wow.
Everyone should do it. I
Yeah.
just like, it's so worth
Yeah.
stepping out there.
And I'm so happy you mentioned how Ulay it's involved in the process. We certainly don't provide, for those who are asking, we don't provide editors, or we don't. We can help you find persons, crew members. Of course, we can give you that help, but we don't provide like you will have to find your own crew to create your short film. I'm answering that question for someone who put it in the Q&A. Um, Juan, tell me a
Mhm.
little bit about the application process for you. Did you find it difficult, like the questions that we asked?
No, it's honestly been like one of my, I've done way too many grant applications in the past, not just for films, but for like our programming series and stuff and for writing. And usually it's like way too time intensive and over detailed, and like it'll ask you to send like a budget breakdown and everything. And it's kind of what I loved about the like one. It was very much just like, what do you want to do? How are you going to do it? What do you want it to look like? And I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can absolutely give that explanation. And it's like, I think like with ours, we were very straightforward about everything. So like when we provided our summary, it was like, okay, we talked about how we wanted to highlight South Beach and the Van Dyke Cafe and like queer bars at Lincoln Road that don't exist anymore, and sort of like these specific locations, which I think probably helped us out. And even like down to a Lululemon, which like took over one of the spaces, and it was like, this is all fine because that's like part of the beach. And I think like, because I don't know, it was really one of the easiest processes I've ever had.
It is super easy. It is super easy. You just have to answer like a few questions. And for me, when people ask me what are the jurors looking for, I always try to answer saying that we're not looking for anything specific, but I think the best way to apply is to give the jurors as many words as you can use to describe how this film will look like at the end. If you have
like, I think as long as you give an idea of like what you're actually going to do, like you don't just say like, I want to go to like this one restaurant in Little Haiti and like talk to two people. It's like, okay, well, like tell me more. Like, sell me your idea. Even if you don't totally know exactly how you're going to do it, just sell it.
Yeah. So there's a few people asking about what are the jurors looking for. In your experience, what did you think the jurors were looking for in your year? I mean, content-wise, something specific cross your mind?
I don't know. I feel like, and like looking back at all of the other 8 shorts, it's like, I think everyone's was so different in such an interesting way that I don't think there was anything like very specific other than actually having a good vision. And I think like, because I mean, what we had one short that was all about mailboxes in South Florida, and like that to me is like, I would have never thought that could have been as amazing as it was, but it was. And it's like, you have, I don't remember, there's like one with like woodworking, which is like so cool. And like ours was
the Carla Caprali,
the animated documentary. And again, it's like you were saying, it could be narrative, it could be experimental, hybrid docs. Like ours ended up, or it was always a narrative, but it ended up going a lot more experimental than just very traditional, like 2 shots. And we had so much fun going through like Wolfsonian's archives as well, because they had so much stuff that you can just get, and they're really great about it. And even if they don't have something like recorded, they will literally just get a file for you to see it, which is so wonderful. But I don't know, like, again, I think the jurors are just looking for a good vision. And like, again, our application literally just had a short, minute-long sort of commercial, sort of short film. And it's just like, it's just a sort of guarantee, like, we have an idea of what we're doing.
And also, did you mention in your application what part of Miami Beach were you shooting on?
Yeah, we specified Lincoln Road, and we also mentioned, I think, in our whole, let's see, I'm looking at the application right now. So we said specifically Van Dyke Cafe, which closed about like 10 years ago. We brought up the Lululemon that took its place. We brought up Gathering Hotel because that's where we were originally going to start on Lincoln Road. And we actually didn't specify any other places, but we did notice, or we did talk about the clubs and the bars that existed in South Beach. that we wanted to specifically shoot around, because it was probably going to be impossible to actually shoot inside.
Yeah. I get it. So yeah, it is very important that people specify their locations where they're planning to shoot their short film, and why is it important to shoot in that location. That would give the jury an idea
Yeah.
of why it is important to tell this story in Little Haiti.
Yeah, like it shouldn't just be like, oh, we can tell the story anywhere. It should be about, like,
Exactly.
We took it in the way of like, we wanted to make a story that was specifically, like, even though it is sort of about how like South Beach has been changing in like a really fast way sometimes, if we miss the old days, it was very much like, I love South Beach. I do actually really care about it, and we wanted to dive into like that history and stuff. So it was like, I think that might have been helpful to us, that we actually like focused on why South Beach.
That is great. One of the best questions I have for you tonight. Why do you think you won?
I have no idea. No, honestly, I think it's all about like, and I'll always say this, I think just like come in with a clear vision, and you know, even if you don't feel super confident about it, have like a friend look through it, and just, it's what I've always done with every single project I've ever submitted to. I will literally always have either one or two friends who are not even necessarily filmmakers or anything, just who can tell me whether or not they understand what I'm going for. And I think if you can explain your vision to someone and they understand it, then you should feel comfortable submitting it. And I do think like that is, I mean, I don't know. I think we just know what we're talking about.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you. Like for me, like the most important thing and the most important part of the application is to express your idea, like express what do you want to make at the end, like come with a clear vision of your short film. That's
exactly, because more than anything, like both grant applications and filmmaking are the same thing. You just have to be able to communicate what you want to communicate. And I think like a solid application that communicates it will show that you have an understanding of how to actually communicate what you want to make.
Exactly.
And when you make the film itself. And I think that counts.
Exactly. I have one question here in the Q&A, and it's actually it says, congrats, Juan. Where can we see your film?
This one's not online right now. It is playing at a festival that I cannot name at the moment because it's not officially announced yet, but it is going to be playing online sometime in the next couple of months.
Well, congrats.
Which is like another thing I do want to say about Ulay is after our initial screening, you guys were actually very encouraging about helping us submit to other festivals if we were interested, and I have been like sending it around and have gotten a couple of it's like,
what is it?
We got acceptances. Wow, words. What are they? But yeah, we've actually been accepted to a couple of places, which has been really nice. And it really is something like I would recommend to anyone who's even just like starting out filmmaking. It feels like you could use it as like a very great launching off point for any kind of filmmaking journey that you're going on, even if it's just like one time that you want to experiment making something like really personal that you want to tell about, like Little Haiti. Like, yeah, like give it a shot. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You got to know. And like, I have gotten so many grant rejections in my lifetime, so like you gotta get used to it if you want to make something. And I do think like there's 10 people who are gonna get money right now, and like those 10 short films are gonna be completely different in every single way, and like you might be one of them. And I think if, again, even if you're terrified, just try. Just throw your hat in the ring.
Again, you don't have to be a filmmaker. Like you can. You need to apply, please. If you have a good idea, just apply. Yeah, it's very important. Actually, the work sample, it's optional this time, but I wanted to ask you how useful you find to submit your work sample, even though you told me before it was not like a really like a short film or something more prepared, but how do you find that process?
I mean, I think a lot of times places will ask you for way too many work samples, which is always frustrating because it's like it's a little bit of gatekeeping in my opinion, in terms of like who deserves access. Oh, the only people who deserve access are people who have made more works. And I do think like making it optional, I think is really great because that gives a chance for other people who aren't necessarily like in or haven't created a film to be able to do it. But for us, I think it helped us because our short that we submit was just sort of very much in the vein of like what we do in programming, which was like queer and like cinematic history. And I think because our film was specifically tied into that, it showed like, even though it was a completely different approach, it showed that we do have the ability to actually show how like that we can approach these subjects in an interesting way. And even though like, you know, like our first short was about like literally just like one of our friends who's a trans woman, like copying the Nicole Kidman AMC ad and like experiencing all sorts of like queer history and heroes and villains from like decades or literally a century of cinematic history, versus our short, which was like, let's play around with a gay love story in South Beach that's also just like about the history of South Beach. So I think those two things, even though they're completely different, they do have some overlap that showed like we can tell a fun story.
I think that's actually the idea of the work sample, like to being to give the jurors a sense of what you can do, even if it's with an iPhone. That's also very important. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a very prepared short film or anything like that. You could put something that it's something you have made with your iPhone, something you have made with a camera that you have at home. It doesn't really matter. We just like that will help. Of course, a work sample always helps. Like there's some certain words that doesn't necessarily express what you want to do in your film, and that work sample can come to save your life in that moment. True. Yeah. But again, it's optional this time, so you don't have to send one. But if you have one, please submit it as well. It'll be very much.
I would also say, like, even if you don't have like a work sample, it might almost, I mean, I don't know if the jurors are looking for this, but what we've done in the past with some of our other things is we've literally just made like a miniature mood board, just like a really simple PDF of like, here are my like ideas, here are the things I'm inspired by. Like we made one for one of our other shorts that we pitched a little while ago that was literally just like a 2-page PDF with like mostly images and some words explaining things, because it was just, it's like that little extra thing of like, I am determined to show you this story. Like it's an additional selling point no matter what way you do it.
I mean, the application is so simple that it's always good to have like some type of backup, you know. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's that's amazing. So I have another question here. Are the jurors looking for the best ideas about the topic of Little Haiti, or more looking at how it will be executed? Well, that's up to the jurors, but it's like, I would say it's a little bit of both. They are looking for good stories that can be that are being shooting in Little Haiti. So it's a little bit of ish. Yes, we're looking for good stories, and yes, we're looking for good stories in Little Haiti. So there you go. I think I have answered your question. What if I need to go over 5 minutes? I think you can answer that one. I think you can answer that one.
We went over 5 minutes. I know some other filmmakers went over 5 minutes as well. I think the whole like 3 to 5 minute limitation is mostly for the screening itself towards the end of the year. But obviously, like if you go over that, you can sort of like work around things and like put it down for the screening, like that one screening, and then start like make a better version of it or like a different version of it if you so want to, and submit that to festivals. Like I think Mailbox directors told me their original cut was like 12 minutes, and I'm like, wow, like you guys got a lot of mileage out of like your funding. Ours originally was I think 7 and we cut it down to 6, and then for the screening I think we cut it down a little more, but it might have still been over the 5.
Well, keep it under 5, please. Keep it under 5. But if you need to go over 5 minutes, like you can have your own short film for over 5 minutes. That's completely fine. But for the screening purposes and for these open call purposes, the short film needs to be 3 to 5 minutes long.
Yeah, like keep your idea short, and then if you end up making something longer, like hide it for a little bit.
Juan, one last question for you.
Sure.
I mean, we've been talking about all the process from your experience, and I think that helps a lot to all the people that are thinking of applying for this open call. But overall, if you would have to give an advice to the filmmakers planning to apply, what that advice would be?
Oh my God, I don't know. What's my advice besides everything I've already said? I
mean, I like for me.
Let's hear yours.
You said it. You said it. For me, it's coming with a clear vision of your project.
Yeah.
Like that's for me the best advice.
Yeah, that's always what it's gonna be for me, is like I want to know, like if I was one of the jurors, I would be like, okay, not only what sounds like the most interesting idea, but like who can tell me what they are going to do in an interesting way. Like it's always going to be about, I hate saying like you have to sell yourself, but you really do. It's all about like, I want to make this. Okay, well, without me there to ask you to explain it, I need you to sell me on it before, because you don't have a chance to explain yourself. You only have that grant. And I want you to show me whether it's your personality, your skill, your story, like how do you put everything, as much about yourself, into that tiny application as possible. And I really do think like you've got to just not only be yourself, but like just be very upfront with like what and how you're going to do something that you want to do. And again, run it by people.
I like that. For me, it is very important to be like ourselves whenever we're trying to explain what we're gonna do. Like that transparency, that would give the jury like, also that could give the jury what they're looking for, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that matters a lot with stuff like this, where it's very specifically located to like again, for ours, it was like, we love South Beach. We want to tell this specific story that is part of South Beach. And I can only imagine like how many different stories exist within Little Haiti. And it's just like, don't just, like if you were coming into this just thinking like, oh, well, I'm going to switch it to Little Haiti just because like, who cares? Like, it doesn't, like, I don't care about Little Haiti. I just want to make a short. It's like, that to me will show in your application. If I was one of the jurors, I would be looking for people who sounded sincere about why they want to make a short film in Little Haiti and have an actual story that is like, even if it's just like a person who has lived in Little Haiti and like worked as an artist there, and you want to make a documentary about them, like that is still like Little Haiti is core to
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
essence, or like if you, I don't know, if you just want to tell like a story of like two people who are like meeting for the first time in Little Haiti and like exploring the area or something, or like anything.
And
There's
then,
so
yeah.
many wild options that can come in storytelling. And I just, again, if I was the juror, I would be looking for which ones I think truly care about that community in any capacity whatsoever. And I don't know what that means, obviously, because I haven't
Mhm.
looked at any apps, but yeah.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you so much. I mean, I
Yeah,
think we
please.
have covered all the questions in the Q&A. But if you have any questions, please, you can reach me at porras@ulightarts.org. I'm putting my email on the chat, so please reach out to me. Thank you so much, Juan, again, for being here, for
Yeah,
your
of
time.
course. Happy to
And
jump on in.
thank you for your short film. I loved it. I loved it. And I would love to see more short films like yours in this new edition of
I
Local.
can't wait to see what everyone comes up with.
Me neither. Me neither. So thank you everyone for joining. Remember, applications are closed now until Monday, the 20th. So you have the weekend to work on your projects, on your
Do it.
applications. So you have a little bit more time right now. Thank you again, Juan. Thank you, everyone. And see you around.
See ya.